What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a breakdown on the top 100 MLB players in the league right now, according to MLB.com and through MLB Network that we've seen transpire over the past couple of days. And in particular, the 7 New York Mets that made the list, my reactions to the Mets, where they are currently ranked. Do I believe that they are deserving to be there, not deserving? Should they be higher or lower? And everything in between. So as always, guys, make sure you stay all the way until the end of the video, find all the deets and all my thoughts on these rankings, and if I believe that they are strong placement, not so strong, and everything going forward. And if you guys ended up enjoying this kind of Mets content, want to see more great Mets content like this, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button, share this video with your friends, put on the notification bell, all those great things. Please help us get a 6K subs, guys. We're literally just around 500 away, it looks like. So if you have not joined the WardyNYM family yet, what are you doing? We are the fastest and largest growing New York Mets YouTube channel here that there is, and I would love for you to be part of the community if you aren't. But thank you again, guys. Now let's get right into this video. Let me just start off by saying that it is phenomenal, and I mean phenomenal, that we have 7 New York Mets here on this list for the top 100 players in the league right now. And yes, a lot of factors go in from the previous short 2020 season, and also other factors basically being their reputation years prior. But again, it's kind of a controversial list because you see guys that years prior maybe haven't put up the numbers, but they just showed out so much in 2020 that they feel that they're deserving. There's others that have shown out in previous years that are nearly not as strong ranking wise as they should be, in my opinion, and everything in between. Again, these lists are always so subjective. People are always going to debate them, but I'm really excited to break them down. So to start off here, at the 89th spot, we have Brandon Nimmo, 27-year-old center fielder, and plays all around the outfield as a whole. 2020, 55 games played in 186 at-bats, racked up 8 home runs, 18 RBIs, a 280 batting average, a 404 on base percentage, a 484 slugging, and an 888 OPS. So Nimmo, as we know, his fielding has been struggling the past couple years out there in center, something that he's normally not accustomed to. Nimmo is a guy that's definitely better off being a corner outfielder, mainly in left, but with the emergence of Dom Smith really making sure you want playing time there, and with there being this uncertain DH still, that has led to Nimmo being in both center field along with other aspects of the outfield. But even though while his glove hasn't necessarily looked stellar at times out there, I'm expecting a big year from him should he be the starting center fielder for the Mets, and how he has fared in previous years has been tremendous. He's an on-base machine. Nimmo, between his eye and just overall his ability at the plate, is phenomenal. Some of the best in all baseball, especially among its outfielders, whether he's either getting hit by a pitch because he just covers so much of the plate as it is, or whether he's just bolting to first base because he got walked or anything. This guy can literally bat around a 230 to 240 average and still have a stellar on base and making things happen each and every game without even hitting the ball with his bat. It's tremendous. But I love Brandon Nimmo, Mr. Smile in baseball. Outside of Francisco Lindor, the young guy from Wyoming has really been stellar for the Mets, and I hope for his sake that his defensive game really takes that next level. He's been working his tail off this offseason. I think this is a perfectly fine ranking here at 89 for him, and I'm hoping for this, after this upcoming season, that he can possibly crack into the top 60, top 50 with his defensive game becoming more well-rounded. Next up, the second New York Met that we have here on the list goes all the way to the 67th spot, that being in Dominic Smith, the first baseman and left fielder. At 25 years of age, had a dominant 2020 short season campaign in which, at 50 games played in 177 at-bats, had 10 home runs, 42 RBIs, a 316 batting average, a 377 on base percentage, a 616 slugging, and 993 OPS. Dom was one of the best hitters in all baseball in the short 2020 season and had the same amount of at-bats they did in the 2019 season, but he was almost double in regards to his RBIs. He tied his career high in home runs with 10 respectively in both 2019 and 2020, but his OPS, everything just skyrocketed. The average was there. And if you would have told me back when Dom was in Double-A, because I did see him playing Double-A, same thing with Rosario back when he was still there, and Bennington, if you would have told me that yes, Dom Smith would become the player that he is today at that point in time, I would not feel too comfortable about it, because Dom at the time was a lot more overweight, was still struggling with his sleeping, because as we know, he does, I believe, deal with some serious sleeping issues, narcolepsy or something along those lines, but he has really found it out. He has actually found a remedy over the past year and a half to 2 years, which has seen a drastic impact in his game and being a better everyday player. Dom, who struggled mightily when he first came in the league, I believe his first series with the Mets was against the Yankees, if my memory is not mistaken, and since then, after hitting like that home run, you know, there wasn't much there, but over the past 2 years, Dom has become a better player by the day. He's gained slimmer, he's healthier, he looks the best he ever has in the MLB, and it looks like that this is just the beginning for the young man. I think this is a perfectly fine placement for him, but again, if you're focusing on right now, there is a fair argument maybe to have Dom higher, just given how stellar his numbers were. He was literally one of the best hitters in all of baseball in the short 2020 season. So if we are putting a lot of stock into it, which these rankings are, because you're talking about players right now, I would maybe like to see Dom a little bit higher given how stellar of a season he had, but I also understand that he doesn't have nearly as much of a track record as other guys ahead of him. Coincidentally, the next New York Met was ranked 66th right after Dom, as a guy that went back-to-back with Dom plenty in the lineup throughout the 2020 short season due to there being a DH in place as well, and also is the guy that has won the first base job more often than not over the past couple years over Dom, that being Pete Alonso. And in the 2020 season, Polar Bear Pete in 57 games played and 208 at-bats racked up 16 home runs, 35 RBIs, a 231 batting average, a 326 on-base percentage, a 490 slugging, and an 817 OPS. Now, this is already where I have a gripe with these rankings, all right? And it's something that I've seen in trends with numerous rankings among players for teams where you have guys going back-to-back, and I'm left wondering, I'm really wondering if this is exactly just because of the fact that they're teammates, that they're on the same team. I feel that this was kind of a lazy job on these rankings part by the MLB, because realistically, Pete Alonso and Dom should not be connected to each other back-to-back here. And maybe you can even make the argument to have Dom higher for basing off of the 2020 season. But even then, Pete, with him having a low average, with him really struggling to even bat his weight in the 2020 season, was still on pace for upwards of 42 to 45 plus home runs. This guy was still going to be dominant. He was really finding his groove at the second half of this season, as we know, through only a 60-game campaign. And I think Pete overall is one of the better players in all of the MLB right now. Yes, you can make some gripes on his defense, but it's still getting better. I don't think it's nearly as big of a deal what everyone seems to make it out to be. Since he has landed in the MLB, he has not been a Gold Glover. I definitely agree there, but he has not been a huge problem at first base defensively. And even if Dom is the better defensive first baseman between the two, Pete's bat truly makes up for it. He's an impact player. He has really burst on the scene in his rookie year, as we know, being the batting champion, having most home runs in the history of the MLB for a rookie, won the home run derby. As we know, this guy was just amazing. And then he really came back down to reality in the short 2020 season, but I fully expect him to dominate going forward. In the prime of his career, Pete Alonso is a beast, and he's really one of the unsung captains for this team since he has come on the roster. Same thing with deGrom, who's the silent captain, if you will. Conforto to an extent, McNeil. A lot of these guys have that captain personality, but Pete has really stood out there since he played his first game against the Nationals against Max Scherzer, which he struck out in that first at-bat in the 2019 season. It has been lights out ever since, and as long as he can get to that around a 250 average consistently, you're going to see Pete do a lot of great things as defense is still getting better by the day. So I think this is a ranking that I'm just left scratching my head. Why do they need to be next to each other? It's definitely connected because of the fact that they're both New York Mets. I would like to see one of them higher, to be perfectly honest, but I'm not going to make a huge deal out of it at the end of the day. I think this is only more fuel to fire for someone like Pete to make sure that he can definitely be a top 50 player in baseball for the upcoming season. The fourth ranking for the New York Mets on this list for the top 100 rankings goes all the way to 35th, that being, and yes, Jeff McNeil. McNeil playing both third base, second base, can play the outfield. He really does it all. Had another fine 2020 campaign, to put it lightly. In 52 games, played 183 at-bats. The 28-year-old racked up 4 home runs, 23 RBIs, a 311 batting average, a 383 on-base percentage, a 454 slugging, and 836 OPS. And I have to be quite frank, this is a ranking that I'm a little upset with. I think McNeil is definitely a top 30 player in baseball right now. He even had plenty of strides in the short 60-game season where he was not looking too great. He was definitely having strides where he just simply couldn't get a hit, and he was trying to pull the ball a little bit more than I think what he's accustomed to and gain those home runs. He only had 4 on the year. As a guy that has both power but consistency more than anything. He's batting leadoff. He can bat and really anywhere in this lineup, but do tremendous things. Getting on base is his key. He's very similar to Nimmo in a lot of aspects, getting on base constantly as a leadoff guy, but really, even in the season where he has struggled, he just makes up for it with everything. Still a 311 batting average at the end of the day. Has been one of the best and most consistent hitters in baseball the past 2 years, along with the fellow second baseman in the Bronx, that being DJ LeMahieu. These guys have been dominant respectively in the AL and the NL, and in my mind, is definitely deserving of being higher where he currently is. I'm not going to really give it too much of a problem with it because it's only a 60-game season. I think after we have this full 162-game season, then I'm going to be more critical on these rankings through the MLB. But this is a guy that also can play anywhere. His versatility really makes up for it, and I think that's a huge factor. He has a very strong glove as it is. McNeil, in my mind, can very well go down as a multi-gold glover easily. When you look at his glove currently at both second, third, can play in left field. He can do it all. He really can, and that's what I think separates McNeil from the rest in a lot of aspects versus, say, at least 5 other players in these top 30 rankings. I get it. It's a controversy. Maybe I'm being a little biased because I'm a Mets fan at the end of the day, but McNeil, between his versatility, being so consistent with the bat, even while having some issues with his bat throughout the season, it's pretty telling that this guy is only getting better with age, and I fully expect the Flying Squirrel to have a dominant, and I truly mean dominant, 2021 season. Here we have for the 5th New York Met represented on the top 100 rankings, another one that really frustrates me just because I know that they only connected to the two being teammates, that being a Michael Conforto, the right fielder for the Mets. Scooter, the sweetest swing in baseball, had a phenomenal 2020 campaign as well, in which in 54 games played in 202 at-bats, 9 home runs, 31 RBIs, a 322 batting average, a 412 on base percentage, a 515 slugging, and 927 OPS. Conforto has been one of the best players for the Mets for the past couple years now, has been tremendous. He's my favorite New York Met. If you guys have been following along, if you're a subscriber, if you're not new here, then you know damn well just how much I love Michael Conforto. Since he showed out in the World Series back in 2015 for the Mets, I haven't skipped a beat. This is a guy that originally you literally could not put in against lefty pitchers because he couldn't hit a lick. Now he's a guy that just doesn't hit lefties. He hits all over the field like crazy. He can hit an oppo taco like it's nothing. He can hit a double oppo taco like it's nothing. He can do it all between his bat, his consistency, and his power. Truly is some of the best in all of baseball. He's one of the best right fielders in the game today. I think there's a fair argument to say that he's really not all that behind Bryce Harper when you're looking at his overall game and consistency. But again, here at 34 really grinds my gears, I'm not gonna lie. Another one where I would definitely try to have him higher, at least in the top 30. I know that there's fair arguments both for and against, but Conforto had a phenomenal year, was on pace for an even better year than the year he had prior. And this is a guy that finally fully healthy, you see so much out of Conforto. He's not skipping a beat. His right fielding defensively is perfectly fine. It's at least average, definitely above average at times. And when you're looking at his bat overall, he just smashes. It doesn't matter if it's a lefty that's a lefty on lefty specialist. He's still going to make great things happen. He's just a phenomenal hitter. I cannot say enough good things about Michael Conforto. I think he's going to definitely show out this season and be one of, if not the best hitter, arguably, for the Mets in this upcoming season. Yes, even with the guys that they have acquired in this offseason. That's how highly I view Michael Conforto, and his contract year, fully expect him to pop out, and hopefully sooner than later they get this man extended, because Michael Conforto, he cannot go anywhere. I don't care that he is a Scott Boras client. He needs to stay with the New York Mets long term. Give him a massive contract. He's deserving of it. He's been here for a while now, still in the prime of his career. Make it happen, baby. Michael Conforto should be a New York Met for the remainder of his career. Here we have for the 6th New York Met in the top 100 rankings, that being one of the newly acquired New York Mets, the face of the offseason for the Mets, that being Mr. Smile himself, at Francisco Lindor in the 15th spot here. And Lindor had a down 2020 campaign. In 60 games played and 236 at-bats, had 8 home runs, 27 RBIs, 6 stolen bases, a 258 batting average, a 335 on base percentage, a 415 slugging, and a 750 OPS. The shortstop at 27 years of age, truly the prime of his career, contract year, expect an extension to a long-term one. That's why we got the jersey and the newspaper behind me. He ain't going anywhere. Lindor is going to bring absolutely so much to this Mets club, as deserving of arguably being a top 10 player in baseball in these rankings. I'm not going to give them too much of a gripe here at 15, but Lindor in his prime, when he's hitting upwards of even 35-40 bombs and still having that amazing glove, he's a top player in baseball. Definitely top 10 in a lot of ways. So expect him to have a dominant year, hopefully win an extension under his belt prior to the season. So expect that soon, hopefully, guys. But Lindor, what can I say? I've said so much about this guy, and I will continue to. Between his bat, being a dominant switch hitter, is truly a guy that you can have at leadoff, or you can have him in, say, the middle of the order. Whatever you want to do with Lindor, he changes his approach game by game against the pitchers. He even changes mid-pitch. It is insane what this guy does as a hitter, both, you know, between his hitting and also his defensive game. He's one of the best shortstops in baseball, and arguably the best outside of guys like Trevor Story and Fernando Tatis Jr., but there's still an argument to be had against Tatis, given the fact that he's only been in the league for not even 2 full seasons. But again, Lindor is one of the best there is in this infield. He's going to help out the pitchers tremendously, especially guys like Stroman, who are normally ground ball pitchers. You're going to see a lot of infield hits get in there, but Lindor is going to stop so much. He's going to help JD should he start the season at third base, or whoever's going to be there defensively. He covers so much. He plays so deep in that infield, and yet he's a night and day difference from Ahmad Rosario. And this is not a shot at Rosario whatsoever. I wish him the best in Cleveland, but realistically, Lindor is a top player in baseball for sure. Definitely top 10 in my mind, as a guy that is going to be truly the next face of the franchise for the New York Mets in more ways than one. So watch out, guys. Mr. Smile is here. He's beautiful, and he's going to bring something to the Mets that they have not had in a very long time. Here we have the 7th and last New York Met being represented in the top 100 rankings as the 3rd best player currently in baseball right now, as a surprise to absolutely nobody that's been following along, that being in Jacob deGrom, the GOAT himself. The 32-year-old had truly a lights-out 2020 campaign. In 12 games played and 68 innings pitched, racked up 4 wins, 2 losses, a 2.38 ERA, 104 strikeouts, a 0.96 WHIP, a 13.76 K per 9, and a 2.38 walks per 9, and was a runner-up, one of the top 3 for the NL Cy Young Award voting, in which he didn't win, as we know, but still had another fine campaign. And throughout a normal 162 game season, very well could have been having the triple crown as a 3-time in a row, might I add, Cy Young Award winner. But seriously, Jacob deGrom, there is no more that I need to tell you about this guy. For anyone that feels that he isn't deserving of being top 3 in baseball right now, you can make that argument, but seriously, he's been the top pitcher in the game. He is currently the top pitcher in the game. When you're talking about not just the 2020 season, but 2019, 2018 going on, this guy's been one of the most consistent pitchers in baseball. He's getting better by the year. He was throwing flames more than ever in the shortened season. Maybe that was because he really wanted to unload his tank, knowing that he only had a couple outings versus a normal 162 game season, but he threw a 99 and 100 miles per hour more than ever by far in the 2020 campaign. He's just dominant. He gets better by the year. He's truly like a fine wine, aging so well, and I cannot wait to see deGrom with an amazing supporting cast like no other that he has had in his career with this Mets lineup heading into the 2021 season. Truly something amazing. The face of the Mets, and will continue to be for as long as he stays a New York Met, which hopefully for his sake is the rest of his career. And that'll do it for this video, guys. If you did in fact enjoy my thorough breakdown on the 7 New York Mets in the top 100 rankings currently, if you agree or disagree, make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and smash that like and subscribe button. Share this video with your friends, put on the notification bell, all those great things. Thank you all so much for the countless support, guys. Please help us get to 6K subs again, because as you guys can see here, only around 40% of you or so, around 60% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel, but are checking out the video. So all you gotta do is hit that button so you get all the notifications, all the updates for consistent Mets content. Make sure you hit those, guys, and thank you all so much again. So let me know your thoughts down below. Expect great Mets content here going forward, and I'll talk to you soon.